of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm commenting on the evidence we have. And we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and Obama Justice Departments had. And they determined, not me, they determined that that information was not credible.
Mr. Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
Imagine promising full transparency on the Epstein files, then suddenly locking away hundreds of gigabytes of evidence. That's what Kash Patel is being grilled on, and the survivors are still waiting for answers. So is this accountability or another cover-up?
Questions recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information, we're gonna give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question, so let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appear to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite all investigative
yes or no
leads
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the stats. And you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk about cover-ups.
And I will take as much time as I
Where
want.
were you during the Obama and Biden administrations when these so-called cover-ups were going on? Why didn't anyone in those administrations talk to any of these purported witnesses? I have welcomed every single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm going to take another
When you accuse the witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works.
Listen, he didn't even, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you have always been fair. But this is not fair.
And you will get
no, this is my time, and he said that the witnesses were not credible.
Seconds of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because that's how much time he took.
You won't get a minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand how much time you get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel, are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm commenting on the evidence we have.
But
we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and Obama Justice Departments had. And they determined, not me, they determined that information was not credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You ask the questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says, but that doesn't mean you get to interrupt him.
He's not answering my question.
Mr. Chairman, could we restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she can complete her question?
We will give her additional 30 seconds, which is what I said earlier.
I'm going to keep taking my time. Because
no, you'll take the time that you get.
You are not answering the question. The question is,
you just don't like the answer.
Are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well, what is the answer?
I keep telling you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this case. This administration is the only one that has welcomed any new information in this case.
Is there a yes or no to
present new credible information? Present new information.
Are the victims credible or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump administration.
Are they credible or not? You can't even say.
Victims credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of Jeffrey Epstein.
Called them
not Biden,
a hoax.
not Obama.
President Trump
no one else.
called the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask you.
The gentlelady's time has expired. I gave her the additional 45 seconds she requested. The gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from New Jersey is recognized for his 5 minutes.
If you would meet with the women who were sexually abused and raped and groomed at the ages of 14 and 16 years old. Are you going to cover up? Are you going to continue to cover up for the rich and powerful men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell too, Mr. Chairman, but I don't want to yell above this.
The time belongs to the gentleman from New Jersey. I appreciate the gentlelady yielding back.
Are you going to allow them to testify, Mr. Patel?
Go ahead.
Will you allow them to testify to you, Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, thank you for being here. I know it's been an interesting and difficult 2 days. And I wasn't going to talk about the Epstein thing because there's a lot of other issues that affect the FBI, but I have to say a few words. I've sat.
When watching this exchange between Kash Patel and Representative Jayapal, the first thing that stands out is the contrast between rhetoric and action. Patel came into his role as FBI director making very bold promises. Before he was even confirmed, he publicly committed to complete transparency regarding the Epstein files, insisting that no stone would be left unturned and that there would be no cover-ups. On paper, that sounds like a leader ready to confront one of the most high-profile criminal networks in recent history. But as the hearing unfolds, viewers can see how these promises collided with the political reality of protecting powerful figures. By July, just months after initially promising transparency, Patel's approach shifted dramatically. Instead of releasing full records, the FBI under his leadership provided only a single video and insisted no further disclosure was appropriate. That's hundreds of gigabytes of data, potentially holding crucial evidence about trafficking networks and abuse, now withheld. For viewers, this is a lesson in how political influence can impact law enforcement, even at the highest levels. It's not just about what is being hidden, it's about why. Understanding that distinction is key to seeing the broader systemic issues at play. Representative Jayapal's line of questioning highlights another critical element, the human cost of inaction. She centers the survivors of Epstein's crimes, young women who came forward to testify about being groomed and assaulted. These are real people whose lives were irreversibly affected, and they sought justice through the system. Patel repeatedly avoids directly answering whether these survivors are credible. This moment underscores a vital point for viewers. Bureaucratic language and procedural excuses can be used to evade accountability, and survivors often bear the brunt of this evasion. It teaches us that transparency and responsiveness to victims are essential metrics for evaluating leadership in law enforcement. The hearing also illustrates how easily institutional power can be manipulated. Patel points to prior administrations and existing evidence as a shield, essentially arguing that because previous leadership handled it a certain way, his current choices are justified. For viewers, this is an example of a common tactic in bureaucracies: deflect responsibility by referencing precedent. Understanding this helps citizens critically evaluate statements from officials and recognize when accountability is being sidestepped. Another lesson lies in the dynamics of congressional oversight. Jayapal's persistent questioning demonstrates how legislative checks are supposed to function. Her insistence on answers, even as Patel evades, models for viewers what active oversight looks like and why it matters. Oversight isn't a formality. It is a necessary mechanism to protect the public, ensure justice for victims, and prevent political interference from undermining law enforcement integrity. This exchange also reveals the limits of procedural protections. Patel frequently cites evidence gaps or existing DOJ protocols to avoid answering key questions. While some of these points have procedural merit, the broader picture is clear. When transparency and accountability collide with political interests, vulnerable populations, like the survivors of Epstein, are the ones left at risk. This gives viewers a deeper understanding of how policy, law enforcement, and political influence intersect, often at the expense of those most harmed by systemic failures. For viewers, the takeaway is clear and actionable. Stay informed, scrutinize claims of transparency, and demand that survivors' voices be prioritized. It's a reminder that holding public officials accountable requires constant vigilance and that justice is more than procedural compliance. It's the ethical duty to protect the vulnerable. If you want to stay on top of these critical issues, understand how government power is wielded, and learn what you can do as a citizen to demand accountability, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Every time you engage, you support a deeper conversation about transparency, justice, and the protection of society's most vulnerable.